Okay. Hello, sir. Hello, everyone. This is the group of the effect of high-intensity interval training in different sectors and its purpose. Rationale.
Rationale. So, ito po yung rason kung bakit ito po yung napili namin study. So, fit training individuals can expand their knowledge and skills, potentially leading to new career opportunities or the ability to offer specialized fit training services. Next is this study we are curious about high-intensity interval training or HIIT based on running plan improves athletic performance by improving muscle power because it contributes to the understanding of HIIT training and its effect on different types of athletes, providing valuable insights for both practitioners and researchers in the field of exercise science and fitness. And last, additionally, we are interested in understanding the psychology mechanism behind HIIT's effectiveness and how it compares to other forms of fitness.
Here are the three studies that we choose. A high-intensity interval training based running plan improves athletic performance by improving muscle power. The author is Felipe Garcia Pinillos. So published journal Strength and Conditioning Research 2016. Then the second one is the acute and post-exercise psychological responses to high-intensity interval training in endurance and sprint athletes. The author is Lucas Ciprian, Sports IMED 2017. Then the third one is high-intensity interval training improves respiratory and cardiovascular adjustment before and after initiation of exercise. The author is Marina Fillet, published Fran Fischl, March 11, 2024.
Okay. Proceed naman tayo dito sa table. Okay, yung sinasabi lang dito about sa table, the demographic and anthropometric data of the participants, or mean is and information about characteristic of their training routines and athletic performance. So, first column natin, makikita natin dito yung variables, which is age, body mass, or the PGA, tapos sunod height, tapos number of workouts per week, number of running session per week din, running volume or kilometer per hour, running volume hour per week din, overall race time, minute ago. So dito sa CG means control group, meron sa yung age nila meron din sa 33.8 or 5.4, tapos sa body mass naman 74.3 or 5.8 and so on. Tapos dito naman sa ay sa whole group pala yun, sorry. Dito naman tayo sa control group or the N equals 6, meron siyang 33.8 or 3.2, tapos 74.3 or 7.2 and so on. Tapos dito naman sa paayos nga ng hindi ko makita masyado. Tapos sa experimental group naman, which is yung AG, it's about the experimental group 35. Yan. Talaga. Hindi siya man. Hindi ko siya man. Wait lang. Yan. So yung wait lang. So yung sinasabi lang naman dito sa variable, makikita naman natin dito kung paano nila gawin yung training nila dito sa second table. So yung lang dito, yung overall trace weight dito sa whole group, mayroon silang 64.9 or 6.57 and so on. Tingnan nyo na lang, makikita naman dyan lahat. Tapos proceed tayo sa next table. Explain ko kung ano yung nila, yung paano nila gawin yung training plan. So ito sa table to, exercises, 100 meter runs with 30 seconds rest. So yung intensity niya or the VO2 max is 120 to 130. Tapos ito naman yung gagawin niya sa week 1. Times na gagawin yung 100 meter runs with 30 seconds rest. Tapos sa week 2 naman, 25 times din niya gagawin. Tapos sa week 3, 30 times. Tapos sa week 4 naman, 35. Tapos sa week 5, 20 times din. So punta naman tayo dito sa second exercise, which is 400 meter runs with 90 seconds rest between runs and 30 minutes between rest. So habang ito i-explain ko dito, habang tumatakbo siya, mayroon siyang rest na 90 seconds between the runs and 1. Tapos pagkatapos ng isang sets niya, magre-rest siya ng 3 minutes. Magre-rest ka ng 3 minutes pagkatapos ng isang set na 400 meter. So, explain ko dito, yung high intensity VO2 max niya is 105 to 110. So, explain ko dito kung ano yung nasa dito. 2 times close and open parenthesis 4 times 400 meters. So, yung ibig sabihin dyan, dalawang sets tapos 4 na beses niya gagawin yung exercise na 400 meter runs. 2 sets and 4 reps. Tapos dito naman sa second week, sa sunod na linggo, 2 times 5 times 400 pa rin. O nagdagdag siya ng isang reps. So dalawang sets pa rin yung gagawin niya, pero nagdagdag siya ng repetition, 5 times siya gagawin. Sa week 3 naman, 2 times pa rin. 2 sets pa rin, pero ganun pa rin, ginaya pa rin niya yung sa week 2. Walang nagbago. Tapos dito sa week 4 naman, ganun pa rin, makikita naman. Tapos dito sa week 5, makikita dito nag-decrease siya. Naging 3 times 400 na lang. So 2 sets na lang, tapos 3 times na lang niya gagawin yung 400 meter runs. Tapos dito naman sa batch of 120 runs with 120 reps din. So dito 100 o 105. So 7 times siya gagawin sa 7 hanggang sa week 4. So hindi niya pinarform hindi siya nag-perform ng week 5. So nag-rest siya. Tapos dito naman sa 30 seconds all-out running sprint with 3 minutes most all-out dito. Hindi siya dito lang siya nag-perform sa week 4 and to week 5, which is 4 times, 8 times, tapos 6 times. So yung training volume niya o session per week o kilometer per week, o sa session per week niya 3, sa week 1 training 3 sessions lang yung ginawa niya. Tapos sa week 2 din 3 sessions lang yung ginawa niya. And 4 sessions, tapos 3 sessions sa week 5. So yung nila, yung nagamit nila na kilometer per week yung nila. Dito sa week 1 yung kilometer per week is 9.4 lang. O 9.4 lang yung niya, yung volume volume ng kilometer per week niya. So maliit yung niya, mababa. Mababa pala. Tapos dito naman 10 kilometer per week yung 10.7 kilometer per week. Tapos medyo umangat siya, makikita natin paangat siya. Tapos nagdagdag dito ng 11.9 kilometer per week. Tapos umangat siya ng naging 13.0 na lang yung kilometer per hour nila. So, tapos nag-decrease siya sa week 5 kasi makikita naman natin na kunti lang yung nagawa natin. So mapapansin natin sa week 2 to week 4 nag-increase yung niya, parang mas lumakas yung nila kilometer per week. So next table naman. Tapos yun lang. Okay, ikaw na.
So this is the result of the experimental group and control group, where athletic performance during sprint distance triathlon before pre-test and after post-test, a 5-week HIIT-based training program. Swimming time elapsed time for swimming, cycling time, and running time. Now, in comparison between the control group and experimental group, before the training program, which is the pre-test, has no significant difference were found in demographic data or in body composition characters. As for the characteristics of training routines and athletic level, the results obtained both the control group and experimental group were similar with no significant differences.
Okay, second table 3. This is talk about the individual responses for the variables related to athlete performance on swimming, cycling, and running time. In addition to overall time, yung dito, overall time before pre-test and after high intensity intermittent training intervention or the post-test. So dalawa dito kung pinag-compare yung pre-test and post-test ng mga participants sa swimming, cycling, and running. Makikita dito sa yung EG yan, yung experimental group. Mayroon siyang 7 participants lang ng experimental group. Tapos mayroon siyang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So dito tayo sa swimming time, yung niya sa swimming sa experimental group. Yung isa nasa 729 lang. Tapos yung cycling naman, yung time ng cycling is 2,275. Tapos sa running naman 1,150 lang yung ano niya sa time. Tapos yung overall time na consume sa mga ano, kasama na yung swimming, nasa 4,154. Yun yung ano ng overall time ng pre-test. Dito naman tayo, punta naman tayo dito sa post-test. So sa swimming niya, mas mababa dito kumpara sa post-test. Kasi 699 lang. Tapos cycling naman, mababa din. Kasi 2,212 lang. Yung ano niya, mababa yung post-test ng, mababa yung performance nila dito sa post-test. Pag dito naman sa ano, sa running naman, mababa din kasi 1,080 lang yung na ano niya no, bumaba. Kung hindi na ibig sabihin na mababa is negative. So mas mabilis nila nagawa yung ano, mas mabilis nila nagawa yung tawag nito, yung exercise nila. Tapos yung overall niya na 3,993. So, hindi ko na babasahin, mag-ano na lang tayo dito sa ano. Ano na lang natin kung saan yung mas mataas at mas mababa yung time nila overall. Paano nga? So, dito, ganun din yung nangyari, orders of significance kasi nag-improve yung ano nila, yung times nila dito sa simula sa pre-test dito sa post-test with performing the swimming, cycling and running. So, yun lang.
So, in addition to sinabi ni Jaime, in Table 3, the results obtained regarding the effect of training program on athletic performance are presented in Figure 1 and Table 3. Both control group and experimental group showed similar athletic levels with no significant differences. With a p-value of 0.511. In swimming, in cycling, the p-value is 0.995, and in running, the p-value is 0.355 before the intervention period at pre-test. And sa control group naman, swimming and running times were different. P-value is less than 0.05 after training program. Significant group by training interaction was found in the athletic performance after 5 weeks of training. The experimental group improved swimming time with 2.90%, with the p-value is 0.013. And in 5 kilometer running performance, 3.93%, and the p-value is 0.001. Whereas the control group remained unchanged, which is p-value is greater than 0.05.
Table number 4, mean heart rate during every stage, and then lactate accumulation and rate of perceived exertion after a sprint distance triathlon race before pre-test and after post-test, a 5-week intervention period. Cardiovascular response during every stage and RPE and BLA after the race are shown in table number 4. No significant differences. P is greater than 0.05 between groups were found at pre-test or post-test. After the heat intervention, neither the CG nor the EG experienced significant alteration in any variable analyzed. P is greater than 0.05 and ES is less than 0.4.
Now we proceed in Figure 2. Neuromuscular performance in terms of vertical jump ability during a sprint distance triathlon before pre-test and after post-test of 5-week heat-based training program for experimental and control group. The neuromuscular response to a sprint distance triathlon race measured by means of vertical jump ability, which is the CMJ and SJ, and the effect of the 5-week intervention period on this response are shown in Figure 2. Both the control group and experimental group showed similar performance before the heat intervention. For the experimental and control group, respectively, p-value is less than 0.05, but the performance was different after the training program. P-value is greater than 0.05. Significant growth by training interaction was found in vertical jumping ability. The experimental group improved CMJ with positive 9.21%, which is the p-value is 0.015, and for ES is 1.498. And in SG performance, positive 5.9%, and the p-value is equal to 0.026, and the ES is 1.065. Whereas the control group experienced non-significant impairment in CMJ, which is negative 3.0%, and the p-value is 0.373, and the ES is 0.505. And in SJ, it's negative 1.8%, which is the p-value is equal to 0.228, and the ES is 0.413. Concerning the dynamic of CMJ and SJ during the race, the repeated measurements analysis showed no significant changes, which is p-value is greater than 0.05 at pre-test or post-test for both the control and experimental group.
In conclusion, the current study shows that a low-volume heat-based running plan combined with already high training volumes of these triathletes in swimming and cycling is effective for improving athletic performance during a simulated sprint distance triathlon competition. This improvement is suggested to be due to improved neuromuscular characteristics that were transferred into improved muscle power and work economy.
Study 2, the acute post-exercise physiological response says to high-intensity interval training in endurance and sprint athletes. Table 1, basic study group characteristics. Ano to? Method 16 highly trained moles volunteered in this study in Table 1. All the participants were deliberately approached and chosen in order to match the specification of the study subgroup regular sport training with the aim of preparing for official national or international competition in endurance or sprint sport disciplines. Endurance athletes participated in Atlas 1 of the following 5-kilometer run, 1 athlete, tower running, 1 athlete, sky trail running, 3 athletes, triathlon, 2 athletes, long track inline skating, 1 athlete, cross country athletes, sprint athletes participated in 100 to 400 meters track run. None of the participants were clinically diagnosed with any chronic or acute cardiovascular, metabolic, respiratory, immunological, or musculoskeletal system disorders. None of the participants used any medication. Prior to the participant involvement, the local ethics committee of the university approved the experimental protocol and investigation confirmed to the principle outlined in the declaration of all participants were fully informed about the study details and provide written informed consent.
The following visits to the laboratory consisted of interval and continuous exercise observations. Participants always arrive at the laboratory between 7 and 9 a.m. after a night of fasting. Breakfast was consumed. Detailed prescriptions for a long and short HIIT and CT are shown in Table 2. The 8-minute warm-up at 50% VO2 max was performed before HIIT. The exercise interventions were ended by 33 minutes of walking at 5 kilometers. All 3 exercise tests were matched for the total durations and mean power. Long, 3 minutes and short intervals, 30 seconds, were identical for work relief ratio as well as for the relative work and relief intensity. Ventilatory parameters and HR were monitored during the exercise. Blood lactate concentrations obtained from capillary blood samples taken from a finger were measured before exercise, at the end of 1 hour, and then after each long intervals or in identical time pattern in case of short intervals and constant load exercise.
So table 3, baseline exercise test results. So VO2 max maximal oxygen consumption, VO2 max minimal running speed required to elicit VO2 max, peak incremental test speed, HR max, maximal heart rate, VT1 and VT2, first or second ventilatory threshold in percentage of VO2 max and VT1 and VT2. Running speed associated with VT1, VT2, and GXT, weighted exercise test, RPE, Borg's rating of perceived exertion, CMJ, counter movement jump height, PE power endurance, 30 seconds Bosco test. So magnitude thresholds for difference in means divide by average of SD, 0.20, TVL 0.20, minus 0.59 is small, 0.60 minus 1.19 moderate, and then 1.20 to 2.00 large. So Asterisks indicate effects clear at the 90% level and likelihood that the true effect is substantial as follows: possible, likely, very likely, most likely. No asterisks mean that 90% CL overlap the threshold for substantiveness. So the conclusion is this study has demonstrated that endurance athletes are able to perform both HIIT formats, short and long work intervals, with increased reliance on aerobic metabolic pathways, although exercise intensity was identical in relative terms for all the participants. Despite this difference, that mean VO2 expressed as percentage of VO2 max and HR, as well as markers of the cardiac autonomic regulation, systemic inflammation, and muscle damage monitored during the early recovery phase did not demonstrate any differences between endurance and sprint-trained individuals.
High-intensity interval training improves respiratory and cardiovascular adjustments before and after initiation of exercise. Figure 2, the letter A, data of representative subject showing changes in control groups. Letter B, comparison of scatter plots and bar charts of average data for slope of the VO2-HR relationship during ramp exercise test before and after intervention in both groups. Closed circles denotes mean pre-intervention data. Open circles denote mean post-intervention data. Black bars denote mean pre-intervention data, and white bars denotes mean post-intervention data. Vertical bars indicate SD less than 0.05 versus pre-intervention value in the trained representative subject. The intensity dependent HR increase during ramp exercise test differs before and after the training and is higher and lower in middle intensity than at high intensity. However, no such changes are observed in the untrained representative subject. A, the points below the identity line represent decreased measurement data in the post-training compared with pertaining in individual participants. B, in the HIIT groups, the slope of VO2-HR relationship decreased. P equals 0.016. However, there is no significant.
So, figure 3. Time courses of cardiorespiratory responses preceding and after exercise during the step exercise test performed before and after intervention in the HIIT and control groups. Closed circles denote mean pre-intervention data. Open circles denote mean post-intervention data. Vertical bars indicate positive, negative SD or standard deviation. P is less than 0.05 and P is less than 0.01 versus pre-intervention value during the resting stage prior to exercise onset. Time-dependent baseline shifts in HR are observed during step exercise test after training compared to before training in the HIIT group. Three-way ANOVA revealed a significant group training interaction and main effect of training, and such changes are observed in the control group. After exercise onset, the changes in cardiorespiratory responses during step exercise test is higher after training compared to before training in HIIT group. During the initial exercise periods, three-way ANOVA revealed a significant group and training interaction and main effect of training and time for HR 0 to 10 seconds. P is less than 0.01, 10 to 20. P value is less than 0.01, 20 to 30. P is equal to 0.031 and VE 0 to 10 seconds. P is equal to 0.009. But no such changes is observed in the control group. HIIT or high intensity interval training, HR heart rate, VO2 oxygen uptake, VE minute ventilation, VT tidal volume, RR respiratory rate, BP the blood pressure, SBP systolic blood pressure, DBP diastolic blood pressure, and MBP mean blood pressure.
Table 3 compares the mean left ventricular morphological variables measured in resting to find position before and after intervention in the heat and control group. Two-way ANOVA revealed a significant group times training interaction for posterior wall thickness, or PWT, and left ventricular mass, indicating greater changes in this variable. In the heat group that those in the control group, analysis of simple interaction effect also confirmed that the changes were due to the significant training effect on PWT and LV mass in the heat group. In the heat group, PWT and LV mass at rest increased by 11% with a p-value of 0.001 and 15% with p-value is less than 0.001 respectively after the heat program compared to before the program, but no such change is observed in control group. So it means there is no significant correlation.
Figure 4. In Figure 4, it shows the plots of pre and post intervention HR max and time to exposure in the step exercise test. In the heat group, there was no significant correlation between pre and post intervention HR max and between pre and post intervention time to exposure. However, there was a strong correlation between percent change from before to after heat program in time to exposure and percent change in HR max R value is equal to 0.932, p value is less than 0.001. In the control group, no correlation was found in all the plots. So, in conclusion, we have demonstrated the heat at 95% WR max induces training-specific adaptations such as improved cardiorespiratory adjustments not only during maximal exercise, but also before and after the onset of high-intensity exercise, improvement of exercise performance mainly associated with circulatory system. So yung ginamit ko na statistical analysis is two-way mixed effect ANOVA.
Similarities. One prevalent similarity across the studies is the significant improvement in exercise performance attributed to heat. The study, high-intensity interval training, improves respiratory and cardiovascular adjustments before and after initiation of exercise, demonstrate how heat induces training-specific psychological adaptations, leading to enhanced respiratory and cardiovascular adjustments before and after high-intensity exercise initiation. Similarly, the study, a high-intensity interval training-based running plan improves athletic performance by improving muscle power, underscores the positive impact of heat on athletic performance by enhancing muscle power, strength, and speed. These findings collectively highlights heat's effectiveness in optimizing exercise performance and athletic capabilities. Another shared theme among the studies is the emphasis on psychological responses to heat. They study acute and post-exercise psychological responses to high-intensity interval training in endurance and sprint athletes delves into the acute and post-exercise differences in cardiorespiratory, metabolic, cardiac autonomic, inflammatory, and muscle damage responses to heat among endurance and sprint athletes. This common focus on psychological responses underscores the importance of understanding how heat influences various psychological parameters in athletes with different training backgrounds. Furthermore, all three studies underscores the versatility of heat in improving both aerobic and anaerobic performance, whether it is through enhancing respiratory and cardiovascular adjustment, improving muscle power, or eliciting favorable psychological responses. Heat consistently proves to be a valuable training modality for athletes across different disciplines. The shared theme highlights its ability to target multiple aspects of performance and psychological adaptations, making it versatile and effective training strategy. In conclusion, the shared findings in these heat studies underscores the positive impact of heat on exercise performance, psychological responses, and athletic capabilities. These consistent themes emphasize the efficacy and versatility of heat as a training approach that can enhance performance outcomes and promote psychological adaptation in athletes. Understanding these commonalities is essential for optimizing training programs and optimizing training programs and harnessing the benefits of heat in athletic training. Differences. The first study, titled High Intensity Interval Training Improves Respiratory and Cardiovascular Adjustments Before and After Initiation of Exercise, delves into the training-specific psychological adaptations induced by heat. This study highlights the improvement in respiratory and cardiovascular adjustment pre and post high-intensity exercise initiation, leading to enhanced exercise performance during intense activities. The study underscores the importance of heat in optimizing psychological responses for improved performance. In contrast, the second study explores how a high-intensity interval training based running plan improves athletic performance by improving muscle power. This study emphasized the positive impact of heat on athletic performance by enhancing muscle power, strength, speed, and endurance. It discusses the long-term benefits of heat in improving power and essential variables related to aerobic and anaerobic endurance, particularly for athletes like rackets players. Lastly, the study acute and post-exercise psychological responses to high-intensity interval training in endurance and sprint athletes focuses on comparing acute and post-exercise psychological responses to heat between endurance and sprint athletes. Research aims to understand the differences in cardiorespiratory, metabolic, cardiac, autonomic, inflammatory, and muscle damage responses to heat based on the athlete's specialization. This study provides insight into how heat impact athletes differently depending on their athletic focus. In conclusion, these studies collectively contribute to the growing body of knowledge of heat and its diverse effects on respiratory and cardiovascular adjustment, athletic performance enhancement through muscle power, and acute psychological responses in endurance and sprint athletes. Understanding these nuances is crucial for tailoring training programs and optimizing performance outcomes in various athletic disciplines. What can be improved? It can help to decrease body fat, increase strength and endurance, and improve health outcomes, but it is not necessarily better than other exercise formats. Its main appeal is that it can achieve similar fitness and health benefits in shorter duration, and that it includes periods of rest. Future direction, the impact of high-intensity interval training versus moderate-intensity continuous training on vascular function. High-intensity interval training interventions in children and adolescents. Effects of high-intensity interval training on physical performance in female team sports.
So the question is, if you will be coming up with a new study based on the presentation, what would it be and why? So I will come up with a study of what is the impact of high intensity training, high intensity interval training versus moderate intensity continuous training on vascular function to know what is more convenient prior to the target audience.
With the study, if I will come up with the study, I will choose the title Heat Regulation Enhancing Athletic Performance Through Advanced Training Strategies. So bakit nga ba ito yung nakam up ko sa 3 studies na yun? Because it is effectively portrays high intensity interval training as a groundbreaking and transformative method for improving athletic performance. It emphasizes the innovative nature of heat, positioning it as a leading edge approach that is reshaping how athletes train and excels in their sports. It underscores its primary objective of enhancing athletic performance and achieving superior results in fitness activities by highlighting the use of advanced training strategies. This title suggests that it surpasses conventional workout techniques, offering sophisticated methods to evaluate athletic abilities. It conveys it as a pivotal advancement in athletic training, providing athletes with cutting-edge strategies to optimize their practice and excel in their fitness pursuits. It studies the impact of high-intensity interval training on respiratory, cardiovascular, and muscle power adaptations. This title summarizes the key findings and implications of the research on HIIT training, making it informative and appealing to individuals interested in optimizing their athletic performance through effective training methods.
Next study is called to investigate the sustainability and adherence to high-intensity interval training programs across diverse population. This is a study would aim to investigate the factors that influence individuals' ability to maintain high intensity as regular exercise and the strategies that can be implemented to adherence the over time.
So if I were to propose a new study based on a presentation on high-intensity interval training, I would focus on the long-term effects of high-intensity interval training on cardiovascular health and overall well-being. So this study stems from the growing popularity of high-intensity interval training as a time-efficient and effective exercise regimen, while existing research has demonstrated the immediate cardiovascular and metabolic benefits of HIIT. There is a need to investigate how this benefit translates into long-term health outcomes. So, a study focusing on the long-term effect of HIIT would be valuable in enhancing our understanding of the sustained benefits of this popular exercise approach and its implication for promoting health and well-being.
For me, if I will come up with a new study, I will choose to focus on exploring the long-term effects of different HIIT protocols on various health markers such as cardiovascular fitness, metabolic health, and muscle strength. This study would aim to provide more insight into the optimal frequency, duration, and intensity of high-intensity interval training session for maximizing health benefits over time.
If I will be coming up with a new study, I propose conducting study on how intensity interval training affects workers' well-being and productivity at work. The purpose of this study is to find out how implementing sessions to regular workplace can affect workers' concentration, energy levels, ability to handle stress, and general job satisfaction. The study focuses on how HIIT affects workplace performance in order to determine how it could improve worker engagement and productivity. Through understanding how HIIT affects the work environment, wellness programs that promote physical exercise and mental health in the office may be developed. This study could provide important light on how HIIT promotes a positive workplace culture and enhances general job happiness and performance.
Sir, if I have a chance to publish and study, I will recommend the HIIT training and diet plan for obese and overweight, or obese and overweight and underweight. So yung gagawin ko dito, sir, dalawang tools yung gagamitin ko, which is training plan and diet plan. Sa training plan na yun, 1 month siya, one month training plan and 2 months training plan. So dalawang training plan. So parang i-compare ko yung kung mas mabilis ba, kung need ba talaga ng time or panahon para mag-gain ng muscle sa underweight at mag-reduce ng fats sa obese and obese and overweight. So sa training plan, mayroong ilang respondent sabihin, 10 respondent sa obese, 10 respondent sa overweight, 3 respondent sa underweight. So bibigyan ko sila ng training plan at diet plan. So pagkatapos ng 1 month training plan, i-measure ko or before ko sila bigyan ng kukunin ko muna yung body fats nila through using digital weighing scale to measure their whole body fats. Yun yung gagawin ko. So kung bali comparison research or experimental using training plan and diet plan. Yun lang, sir. To clarify my recommendation study, so the possible respondent or participant is 60 participants lahat sila. 30 participants mag-perform sa 1 month training plan, tapos 30 participants din yung mag-perform sa 2 months training plan, which is obese, overweight, and underweight. So magiging iba yung diet plan ng underweight pag magiging siya ng muscles. So yung diet plan naman ng obese and overweight, magre-reduce sila ng timbang at fats. So yun lang, sir, yung my recommendation study. Thank you. Sir, the reason why I choose this study is para malaman kung mas effective ba yung HIIT training plan kung may diet plan. Kasi karamihan kasi sa study nakikita ko sa study ng HIIT training is wala silang diet plan. Focus lang sila sa training or sa exercises. So yun lang yung reason, sir.